2 years ago, we'd not really heard of the International Schools Federation, and then got introduced to the Federation. Went, whoa! Why? How is it we didn't understand that this federation existed? So we got into a big dialogue about how we could work together and things like that. And then very kindly, they said, look, I think you should come to Deauville about 3 weeks ago, was it? 3-4 weeks ago, and see what we do in action. And I think the headline numbers were something like 3,500 participants with another 1,500 in the city, and it was busy. And it felt great, very visible on the beach, and not just on the beach, there were other venues that we use. And I would say from my perspective, with very little real activation that would cause anybody in this room any problems. And I've mentioned that, I think we as MEI have only started to scratch the surface where they do, and I'm sure you'll be touching around it, where they do their World Cups and things like that, and how big geographically their reach is and what they're doing. It's an incredible organization. It's under very good visionary leadership with big ambitions. And we were really, really keen to get the ISF to come and brief you. And Roman, before I bring you into this table area, which is where the camera's pointing, so I like to roam around. It's been quite difficult, so we basically got to stay in here. I'd just like to say thanks very much indeed for coming along. And a reminder that we've got a good number of people online. And those people online have also been told that they don't need to watch this live. And even their colleagues who are outside at meetings and the rest, the slides and yourself will be available online for people to have a look. And we've been telling people, be relaxed about having meetings. So don't be, please, put off by the fact that it doesn't look that many people here, because that access and content will be there. So Rowan, really good to have you with us again. I'm going to hand you the microphone. Oh, you got a microphone. I'll take this one away. And, say what you need to say. We'll get some questions, or I'll ask some open questions, which I know the cities would like to know. So over to you. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Denis. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure for me to meeting you today. First of all, I would like to apologize our Secretary General CEO, Mr. Chustonia, who couldn't attend at the very last minute this event. So I'm lucky to be here in front of you today. And also very, very big thanks to MEI and Denis for having us today here in these very important gatherings of international sport organizations. Very shortly, the objective of the presentation for me today is really to introduce you, for some of you who never heard about us, the International School Sport Federation, who we are, what we do, and to focus maybe on one of our, let's say, flagship event called the ISF Gymnasiade. You might have heard of the Universiade, most probably of the FISU, but basically we are the little sister, if we could say, in charge of the under 18 kids from schools. So let's crack on. So first of all, what is the International School Sport Federation? In few words, we are an international multi-sport organization, non-profit, existing since 1972, and we are currently based in Brussels, in Belgium. Recognized by the International Olympic Committee since 1995. In one sentence, what we do is that we organize the largest international grassroots and competitive sports events for school students aged between 13 and 18 years old. That's if in one sentence we can summarize more or less what we do. If I can bring a bit more specificity in this sentence, is that school students are school students from public schools mainly, but also private schools network. But we have a big focus, since we exist, on public schools. If I bring another precision, somehow that we are more in a B2B model today, like when we make the school student participating in our event that I will present after, rather than a B2C approach. So this will be for the future explanation. So within these events that I will present a bit more after, at the end of the day, the main mission and values of the SF is to empower young people. At least I would say they are enough grown up to empower themselves, but to contribute to their empowerment. and to promote different values and important topics for us, which are health and physical activities, gender equality, social inclusions, sustainable development through school sport. So what we encompass around the term school sport for us is really, we could talk about physical educations, physical activities and sport within the school's framework, so extracurricular activities that any kids around the world within schools are doing. So it's aside the physical education framework. So this is our, let's say, our ecosystem, our priority, and we focus on these values. How we are organized. So the ISF is gathering today 132 national members on the 5 continents. So like maybe 6 years ago, we were 80. So we had a really important development in terms of membership this past 6 years, past 8 years. And with our members, what do we do basically is that we are organizing or coordinating 10 to 15 international school sport events around the globe. If I give a bit more numbers, per year, 10 to 15,000 young people, school students, are participating to all our events. To give you some figures, which encompass also the different events that I will present afterwards, including the Gymnasiad. The event that we are organizing, so simply in four categories, but 3 main categories: multi-sport events, so cluster events, which can have 5 to 18, and actually recently during the Gymnasiad 20 sports. So the multi-sport event, and the one that I will focus on right after, is the Gymnasiad. So we speak about 20 sports for the last editions. But then we have the ISF Combat Games also, which is a specific event with just combat sports that we have also in the, let's say, the multi-sport event. Then World School Championship and School Sport Cup, which are single sports event. World School Championship of football, basketball 3-on-3. I will present you then that we have, they are not here, all here obviously, but we have more than 50 sports in our portfolio. Some of them are organized regularly, they are part of several events at the same time, but let's say that within the winter sport and summer sport, we have more than 50 sports in our portfolio. And the last category, and also I will present you, if we have the time, a little video about this project, but part of the mass educational events. These are events which are non-competitive. So the 3 first, multi-sport event, single World School Championship and School Sport Cup, are competitive events for schools. So if we speak about level of sports, we are not in the Olympic categories, I would say. We have a good level of sports, really, really good sometimes in certain countries, in certain participation, but we are not, let's say, doing the job of, let's say, international sport federation. So we are really in parallel, and our target group are really the school kids. And the mass educational events are more events to promote physical activity, health, lifestyle, gender equality topics, and where we organize sports activity, but not only, you will see later, and that are part of our main events. 50 sports, as I said. I will come back to that also shortly after. In terms of communication, obviously, we are present on all the social media platform. If I can bring a little bit more specificity on our target group, also in terms of communication, not only social media. As you understood, our target group is 13, 18 years old kids, right? To participate in our event, but also to, let's say, consume our digital content, if I would say. In the same time, we are targeting other categories which make the kids participating, which are adults. Which kind of adults? Physical education teachers, parents. Parents also a bit more, because so far it's let's say, a population that we are not enough considering in our event, and somehow this is the, let's say, the vision of our future event, to englobe this population way more to a very high level. Could discuss that after. So more or less 500,000 followers on all our platform, mainly Facebook, but we are growing fast. In terms of media partnership and communication also, we have long-term media partnership with some organization that I'm sure you know. The first one that somehow we are really proud of is that since 2017, the Olympic Channel, so the IOC basically decided to cooperate a bit more closely with us to broadcast the ISF events. So our broadcasting strategy is only digital. So through our social media platform, mainly Facebook, YouTube, where we got a lot of very good reach and audience, and also on the Olympic Channel. So not all, but most of our big events are broadcasted on the Olympic Channel so far. The Asian Broadcasting Union, for the one who knows, is a consortium of broadcasters in Asia who are also transferring the signal, the feeds, the highlights, and any content that we are creating to the national TVs, but they decide to take it or not. And then a couple of digital media that I'm sure you are aware of, with who we are cooperating on a yearly level. On the sport point of view, obviously, as you understood, we are recognized by the IOC since 1995, and our objective regarding the sports competition is to deliver a very solid and a professional, let's say, sporting experience for the kids, the teams who are coming for a competition. And therefore, we are collaborating on this angle with all the national, international federation to support us to deliver this key aspect of the competition. So we are developing MOUs with all the federation you are seeing here, and even more. Institutional partners at the political level, we are in very good ties and strong collaboration with the organization that you can see here. I would just mention even strongly the Council of Europe, with who we are directly, let's say, we are member of the EPAS, and at the same time the European Commission, which is a really regular, let's say, financial supporter of some of our events, including the Sheeran's event. Commercial partners, today we are supported financially also by 3 organizations. Kinder Joy of Moving, which is basically the CSR, the Corporate Social Responsibility Program of Ferrero. To make it clear, basically our objective is not to promote any product during our events, but specifically to cooperate with Ferrero on how together we can enlarge the promotion of the importance of physical activity for the kids around the world. Vernil Plus, which is a more on the angle of sustainable development and let's say the use of sustainable PVC in the industry of sport in our events. And last but not least, very recently, like 3 weeks ago, actually, where we signed a 3 years partnership with the brand Pick, who is now our official sportswear merchandising partner. Coming to the point, to this presentation. Today, the idea was also to see potential synergies with people in the room, people watching us today, and specifically potential host cities, governments, any stakeholders who potentially would see an interest in hosting or bidding for one of our events. It could be the one that I'm mentioning because they are the main and the big event, the biggest event we have, but for any event somehow. And this is the objective of my presentation today, and hopefully of our future discussions. In very short, the Gymnasiad, that we also call, that we are not allowed to call that officially, but if we summarize for people who want to have a clear idea what we do, I would say it is School Olympic Games. We are not allowed to say that, of course, officially, but it helps to understand that it's a big multi-sport event for a specific population, and we have it in the summer and a winter version. Obviously, for us, the summer version is the most achieved and organized since 1974. So usually we have one host city, one host country, but we have different scenarios, like very recently in France, where we got 9 cities who were part of the organization. The numbers, roughly 3,500 participants, 1,500 volunteers, up to 20 sports so far. It represents usually the same numbers of venues and infrastructures as you can imagine, except when we can merge some sports within the same venues, which can be interesting. more or less 70 countries and plus, because this is the objective to reach even more countries, because you notice we have 132 members, but sometimes it's not always simple to gather exactly all the same amount of members. And we have two types of gymnasiate. We have the gymnasiate under 18, so for the 16, 18 years old kids, boys and girls. And since 2021, we organized for the first time the U15, so for 13 to 15 years old, which has been very successful, organized for the first time in Serbia, in Belgrade in September, last September, during COVID or just after COVID. So very successful event with at least 2,200 kids coming in this condition. We are very, very happy. And to give you a round idea in terms of communication also, our broadcasting program is about 100 hours of broadcasting, and we calculate that it's around 500,000 viewers cumulated, of course. And in some events, some World School Championship, we did the same numbers through social media and Facebook. So I hope this gives you a little idea of the structure. I will present you now a short video of the last Gymnasiade in France. So this event has been organized by who? By the state, by the government of France, by the French School Sport Federation, which is a member of ISF called UNSS, the region of Normandy, and 9 cities in Normandy, including the city of Deauville as the epicenter of the event, but also big cities, big sporting cities like Rouen, Caen, Le Havre, which are really big cities in France and very experienced in sport. So this was the last major event that we organized, the Gymnasiade. And as you saw in the end of the video, we just announced a couple of, during our General Assembly in Deauville as well, that the next organizer for 2024 will be Bahrain and Manama. In the continuity of this video, so the event, the Gymnasiad is divided, and all our event in general, but let's say the Gymnasiad is divided in 5 dimensions: a strong and a stronger sport dimension, and with competitions, which is the priority of the event. The cultural aspect is very strong, so there is an important cultural program which is always proposed by the organizing committee, a part also of the ISF guidelines and criteria to organize our event. The fun part, which could be summarized also in the more entertaining part, and I would say which evolve in different activities where we are sure that the kids are having a really amazing experience aside also the competition, because at the end of the day this is that we want, that people have an amazing experience on the field of sport, of course, but also aside, and memories for all their life. The educational part is diverse. Somehow we have a fun and skill zone, so which is a kind of village all along the week for the kids, the citizens of the city, parents, to participate in different workshops and activities proposed by partner and educational partners, commercial partners as well, where we can tackle different topics like sustainability, gender equality, healthy lifestyle. So basically here is the idea to propose, aside the competition when the kids are free, to have other, let's say, knowledge on different topics which are very important for us, as I said at the beginning of my presentation. Last but not least, the advocacy part. We have now in each of our gymnasiad a specific international conference on the topic of physical education, physical activities, and obviously around the importance of sport for kids. So where we invite cities representatives, ministries, partners, commercial partners, etc. Anybody who has kind of, let's say, relevant experience in this work, in order to develop new cooperation with future organization. Why to host the Gymnasiad in very short, because I will leave you the presentation afterwards for yourself. But without looking at the slide, I would say that we are a good return on investment for a city or government, compared to also a lot of events, big events, I would say. And I think beside the return on investment, we are not speaking obviously only financially, because of the number of people who are going to visit your city and your country, and basically are going to support the economical development for 10, 15 days. But also we speak about return on investment, social return on investment. Here we have the opportunity to develop a specific project for let's say, a target group which is a priority in the society, like any target group, but this one, the kids, we know that is a priority, and that through the schools also we can tackle a lot of issues. So we are really like believing in our product, in our organization, that we can really support the development of opportunity for kids, and you can be a partner with us for that. It's important also because we have really good examples, and I will speak about France and Deauville. We know that Paris 2024 will host the Olympic Games in 2 years. Just to let you know that the Gymnasiad 2022 has been part of the French government plan when they decided to bid in the lead-up of the Olympic Games to host this event. So it's part of the pre-legacy or the post-legacy of some cities or countries who have the ambitions to organize any event, but even more big sport events. So there is a good storytelling, I would say, in a country, city who wants really to take care of every strat of the society through sport. And here we are with the kids and the schools. Boosting the public policy in terms of grassroots and physical education, as you understood, that it's really our core business, our core expertise. And then I will just take another one that we know that is very coming often in the discussion with cities, is the use of facilities during pick-off, or the opportunity to renovate some venues and facilities because of the because of the welcoming and organization of this event. So I leave you with this, but there are many other good reasons to host this event, and I'm sure we could discuss it further. Couple of cities who, not all of them, because we organized, I just put few of them here, and international ones that you see, who organized already the Gymnasiad by the past. Rio de Janeiro and Erzurum will organize 23, U15 and Erzurum we organize the Winter Gymnasiad in 2023 next year, but here you are. And in terms of future Gymnasiad, 2022 we are in China at the end of the year. 2023 we organize the Winter Gymnasiad U15, of course, in Turkey, Erzurum, from 11 to 18 of February. 23 will be the second edition of the U15 Gymnasiad in Rio de Janeiro. So we got the pleasure to announce this event during the first edition in Belgrade with the presence of the ministers of education of Brazil who came specific for the occasion to sign contracts. So we noticed a very important, let's say, excitement and interest for this event because also of the younger age category, which is important for a lot of government and a lot of cities. Bahrain for 24, and basically the message is that from 25 to 28, this event, whether U15, whether U18, is not yet attributed, and that we are looking forward to any discussion with representatives of cities and governments if you are interested in this event or even future events. For the other events, and sorry, it's a bit small, but we have way more World School Championship will be attributed in the coming months because obviously linked to the COVID-19 we got a good slowdown of the activity. But for 2022 we are really in coming days we are organizing the Volleyball World School Championship with Foz do Iguaçu in Brazil, and she runs in Brussels, and 23 couple of big events like the World School Championship of Football. Before to maybe have the chance to exchange and listen to your question and having a discussion on all this, I would like to show you a short video of another type of event. So you saw really the top category of our multi-sport event, the Gymnasiad. And now to show you another aspect of our activities for the mass event, and specifically the She Runs project, which is an event dedicated to the promotion of empowerment, health, and gender equality, especially focused on girls under 18 years old. So I'll let you check the video and to give you more details afterwards. This was the last edition in 2019, the first one, and next one will be in Brussels in September. That's all. Thanks. Thank you very much for your attention, and happy to discuss with you on future opportunities of collaboration.
Thanks, Ramon. Absolutely fantastic. Well, you know, I promised you that it would be an interesting briefing, and to be honest, it's quite a lot of information to absorb, and they've not just from you, but across, you know, the board from everybody else as well. So those slides are available to go through. I hope what we've done is whetted your appetite that there is something here that you all need to be aware of when you go back. So I'm going to ask, first of all, are there any questions from the floor? If not, I've got a couple of quick questions for you. Is there like to ask a question? Yeah, okay. I'll just move the microphone up.
Yes, thank you. So very nice presentation, really interesting stuff that you achieved. And yeah, the question would be regarding the summer-winter games. Is there a specific slot? Because I'm representing Qatar Tourism, so obviously in summer it's a little bit difficult. Is it in winter that there will be still the traditional sports, or is it focused on winter sports only?
Actually, it's a good question, but somehow we are, let's say, adapting also to the country. So if I give you an example even for the summer version, we are supposed to be in China. I mean, at the end of the year, we are organizing the summer version in December. So somehow even it's a matter of proposal of the country when it's bidding for the event to propose some dates which are of course corresponding to let's say to the weather forecast and the particularity of the country. So yes, we are not close to any particular timing.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, and any other questions? Because I'm going to ask one about sport. Yep, there we go.
Hi there. Do you have information as to if the participation levels vary if they're held within Europe and outside of Europe? Because it seems to be quite Eurocentric in some ways.
Actually not. We have a very good balance of participation in all the 5 continents. Was your question, right?
Yeah, I'm just wondering where that's being held outside of Europe. Are the numbers still the same, or is it lower?
If it's lower in Europe or lower outside Europe?
Lower when it's held outside of Europe.
No, actually, it depends. For example, I tell you, a Brazil event, an event in Brazil is always like very successful. For the Gymnasia, the thing is that the event really took off, really changed in 2018. Because before 2018, the Gymnasia had less sport. We had, I think, 6 sports. So I would say that our experience on the level of participation is maybe still a bit too early to make some really good analysis of whether the countries, when the event is organized in Europe, we have more participation or the contrary. But for example, in Morocco, when it was the first time we organized it in Africa, actually, we got 58 countries, which is quite good, with very important participation, of course, of African countries, but Asian countries. I mean, it was quite balanced. And for this event in France, it was the most important ever, but we got 62 officially, but we got several visa application who couldn't be validated at the last minute, but we could have 10 more countries, and so it's difficult to say, to be honest. I'm sure that if Australia is organizing an event, all the world would like to come to Australia to host the event. So I'm not sure there is like more countries, whether it's organized in Europe or outside Europe. For the moment, it's quite balanced.
Other questions, folks? Other questions? One of the other federation briefs before they came up about are the sports. So if City A could do a number of sports and City B couldn't. And if you know, so it's a very bad way of it's probably been a very long day. It's probably a bad way of asking the question. Do you mandate which sports have to be held within City A or whatever City B, or could they say I need to drop those 2 and I would like to add those 3? What flexibility, if at all, is there within Gymnasia?
Well, actually, there are some mandatory sports to be organized in the gymnasiad, and obviously also there is the possibility for the host country to propose other sports that the country would like to propose for different reasons. Give an example, for the gymnasiad in France, we got breaking and we got 3 para sports. Which are not part of our requirement and not part of our sports, let's say, but the organizing committee wanted absolutely, and was a really good idea, to include dance sport that we didn't have. Also because Paris 2024 will have for the first time breaking, so it was also strategically good for everyone somehow to promote a new sport. For us, it was also a good test to see. It has been very successful. And for the para sport as well, it was really a demand from the LOC to have 3 para sports, and it has been a great innovation for our event. So yes, everything is under, of course, discussion, but there is a mandatory framework for sports. Yeah.
Other questions? Anybody else? No? Roman, it was a very comprehensive brief. Great videos. Thank you so much for coming along. We can give you a round of applause, and thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. It's been good to see you. Thanks very much.